That's weird. Oh. In the upper left, as the red Protoss, it's CJ's herO. Alright, so that last game...
Oh, Foxtrot.
Yeah, actually, let's
Oh,
talk about the map more than that. You're a Protoss, you play versus Zerg.
yeah?
What's Foxtrot like for you?
It's... Well, Zombie Grub, I have to say that I'm really familiar with the number 0 right now, because that's pretty much what my win rate feels like on this map as a Protoss player. This map gets so unbelievably weird, and I feel like actually you've probably been seeing more games on this map than I have. I'm not gonna lie, I've been on a little bit more of a hiatus, but that gold expansion always ends up being this like a really weird choice that I see players take, and very rarely do I ever see it actually work out. I always feel like the player gets their like mineral line harassed if the Zerg tries to take it as like a third or something, and they just end up losing it. Is all kinds of really awkward, weird stuff.
Hmm. There's actually apparently a game that I didn't cast, but everyone told me about, where someone took both golds, a Zerg player took both golds, and
What?
still lost, actually? I forget to who. But, like, he was actually, like, droning, like, saturated on both golds, and he still lost, so...
Oh my god.
I wish I had seen that game.
I wonder, because, you know, it is worth noting, and oh my god, I love this herO going for the double probe pull. That's like a response to a response to a response. It's like Zerg players getting really frustrated with Protoss players being annoying with their probes, so then he tries to be annoying with his drone.
Yeah.
But then the Protoss players know that the Zerg players are going to be annoying with their drone, so he pulls 2 probes. Oh, I love that kind of stuff.
Dark, that was also a scout, you know, that was a threaten to proxy hatchery, but it was also a scout. And when you scout that they're going for a gateway expand, Nexus first, whatever it is, you can go ahead and take a 3-hatcher for a pool. And there is something that someone did, and I forget what it was, that actually hit before 3-hatch. Because, like, basically, anything that hits in, like, a normal way, like a 7-gate all-in, or, you know, any type of pressure, hits at a time where the 3-hatch has already kind of benefited from being a 3-hatchery, you know? And the one thing that, like, hits before then is a very, very quick 4-gate. But I forget, there was, like, another game where they did something... like maybe a proxy, I don't remember, but herO probably is not going to go for it, and unfortunately, no, actually, this will say the spawning pool timing, and that is enough to say that the 3rd hatch was taken before then. But, you know, what can you do? Like, it's Foxtrot, do you take your own faster 3rd? It seems pretty dangerous.
I've seen some Protoss players do that, and that's the thing, right? On another map that maybe it has an easier take 3rd expansion, you try and go for the faster 3rd, and you kind of try and get to play the macro greedy game, but because of the map, I think this is probably going to... I imagine it's probably going to be a little bit more favorable for Dark in terms of this opening. Especially like when you're a Protoss player and you open Gateway, like on top of the fact that he went for like a Nexus first. Of course he's going to try and go for the Gateway and everything, but not having the Forge there to stop a 3-hatch before pool, that's like the main thing, right? Otherwise, if it was just Gateway expansions all day, every day for Protoss players, you would always 3-hatch before pool, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, it's kind of a, you know, if you know the player to always be a gateway expander, you definitely do that. We do have a choice, right? He went for a very quick Stargate behind all this, before Warp Gate, before Militia Core, even before Stalker, I believe. So very, very quick here. We'll see if he gets what he gets out of it. He played one game with Phoenix. That was actually PvP, fun enough. But he also played a game with an Oracle versus Zerg last game, or 2 games ago. It is 1-1. Again, sorry that I can't use GameHeart correctly, and apparently don't have it correctly installed either, so... legit.
Really?
Yeah, okay, mine was...
Do you just not have the hotkeys working or something?
No, I tried using the hotkeys, right? I actually tried to learn something, and it wouldn't show up, so I was like, well... But then it all made sense to me, right? Because my unit's lost tab doesn't work either. I actually have to do...
Control-Shift-S?
No, that works, okay? It'll say how many units are lost, but it'll also say how many units are in play. So say 44 lings are lost, but 11 more are still in play. It'll say 55 units lost, and I'll be like, that's not correct, and I have to do math, and it's hard, and it makes streaming so much worse, but I think I just have a very old version of GameHeart.
Alright, well, I'll pass you a newer or a different version at some point if you need it, but Oracle going to be coming in. Sporecore is already going up. I'm kind of curious if Dark actually had any kind of indication of this. Oh yeah, he did see the Stargate, so
yeah.
Makes sense that he goes for the reactive Spore. Sometimes Zerg players they just say like, oh well, you seem to be going for Stargate, so I'll get Spore Crawlers. I'm like, oh, you didn't scout anything.
It's the better of the options, right? You know, the tech options that you
Yeah.
have. It at least defends against 2 Dark Templars and Stargate, so better safe than sorry. But in that case, no, we had a perfectly good scout on it. Saw exactly what was coming out of it as well, like not Phoenix but Oracles. And I gotta say, I love this wall off on Foxtrot. We didn't cast a lot of Foxtrot games in the beginning when it was first come out, like especially with Protoss, basically. But you know, this diagonal wall off. You know, I remember doing this on like Zelnaga, but just like you don't want to send all your. If you actually wall off over here, it's out of the range of the cannon. Yeah, it is. Okay, that's a good reason not to do it.
Yeah, this is a really, really cool wall off. It does actually have 2 holes in it. So he has that one zealot on the left-hand side and another one between the Nexus and the gateway that's still building. So kind of interesting wall off, but
yeah.
this is going to be a really scary moment. Oh, God. Taking this 3rd expansion is going to be, like, one of the make-or-break moments in this game.
Yeah. It's really not the fastest 3rd ever. And again, like, 3 Hatchet Pro Pool isn't also the greediest thing ever, you know? It's not... I don't know what to compare it to, but... this is, like, basically it's perfectly fine, right?
Yeah.
As long as he can protect it. Now, it doesn't look like Dark's gonna commit like last game. Remember last game he went for that big, like, Ling Roach attack where he was just like, nope, you can have the 3rd, I'm not even trying. And at this point, with the Sim City that's getting up 2, I don't know if 32 Lings actually cut it, even if the upgrades finish.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. It will be a little bit harder. We'll actually have to wait and see, because herO may be moving out, and this could be the really, really annoying situation where he's on the other side of the map, and then the Zerglings come in to try and cancel the 3rd.
And if he recalls, you won't have a Photo Overcharge.
Oh, I think he's gonna have to recall if this Zergling force gets a big surround.
Yeah, donuts are helpful. Excuse me, donuts are helpful. But you know, that just means that like Dark just bypasses the army at that point, right? He's forcing out force field energy, so he just goes ahead and recalls. But now there's another option available for going to that 3rd. Is he gonna take it? Yeah, he is. He can actually wrap around the 3rd. Okay, guess it's not worth it.
Not. Yeah. Gonna have to be a little bit careful about that. Really cute maneuver, by the way, from herO, using the Oracle and using both Revelation and the Energy Beam, and he just kills off every single active creep tumor on the right-hand side of the map. The Queen's still there, so it's not gonna halt creep spread entirely, but kind of a nice little maneuver. I just love seeing more Protoss players actually keeping their Oracle alive to the later stages of the game.
Ooh, totally forgot to geek out over the double upgrades, but I love it. I love double upgrade builds in PvZ. They were totally in fashion for like a month. Fast Ultras was like the thing, and now not so much. But I love seeing stuff like that, and it might be Fast Ultras, like +2/+2 with Infestors can buy you a lot of time versus Blinkstalker, which is what most Protoss do in PvZ nowadays. They stay on Blinkstalkers for a very long time, and then you get up to Ultras, and actually, a lot of times I just don't expect it, first of all. But second of all, of course, it can be tricky defending it as well. But we do have a push out here. No recall, so it is dangerous. I don't know how much he's really going to push forward.
Yeah, Dark has really been enjoying a lot of the counterattacks, but it doesn't look like he's going to be going for that this game. This time, it looks like he may just be going for a really big surround. And there's no proxy pylons behind this, so I think this is a fairly non-committal attack.
You know, herO thinks that it's Spire.
Oh, we're Prism in the main. We're Prism in the main now.
Yeah, there's nothing there to defend it. One Roach is going to be a herO. Go, buddy, go. Oh, big surround on herO's army, and the Fungals as well. And no recall. No, barely a recall. Oh. Holy cow, that finished right at that point.
And Zealots in the main base, I mean, they do a little bit of drone damage. They kill off the guys on gas, but I mean, for the most part, they get cleaned up without accomplishing all that much. War Prism, I think, did manage to get out of there alive. But overall, herO definitely not going to be too happy with that kind of trade.
Okay. So I'm almost like 100% sure at this point that herO thought it was Spire. Not a bad guess to make. Sometimes double upgrades and mass lings can go into Spire. But I feel like if you see 2-2 and Invitation Pit, you just got to be like, no, it's going to be Fast Ultras, actually. So he does recognize it. The Zealots were also kind of a scout, you know, an expensive scout, but nonetheless a scout. So saw the Hive, figures Ultra Scavenger's on the way, and not only gets Immortals, but also Void Rays. The other option to make a complete perfect army is Archons.
Yeah, the Void Rays actually may work out well against the Ultralists when they actually do end up popping out. I kind of like this decision. He's also got a really nice lead on the upgrades still. Not necessarily like overall, but he still has those plus weapon upgrades, which is going to be important versus those Zerglings, because there are still a lot of Zerglings, and I don't think +3 armor has started yet.
Oh, rip Oracle.
Oh no.
That was your bad. You're right there. So the worst thing that well, okay, how do I put this? The worst thing that herO could do is push out and get surrounded. Now, Foxtrot not necessarily the best map to get surrounded. I mean, they're not the worst chokes ever either, but Ultras can go between being like the best thing ever and the worst thing ever really easily, depending on the SimCity and the concave.
Yeah, you know, just speaking about the chokes and everything, one thing that's kind of weird about this map is normally I think of Foxtrot, I'm like, okay, there's like so many different ramps and like chokes that you go through. But then you talk about the 4th expansion that you see herO is taking over here. And you gotta think, wow, this is like a really, really wide open area. And that's where I feel like Dark, if he goes for a big assault with a lot of Zerglings, a lot of Ultralists and everything, they get to get the big flank, this could work out relatively well for Dark, maybe?
Yeah, that's a great point. Like if there there's like one position where you get a great concave, it is on the back of this 4th. However, like gateways, you use the same thing as a Terran, barracks, you know, just kind of dotted around a base, and SimCity is also very great against Ultras. Actually, a lot of things are good against Ultras, I don't know when anyone goes them. But what I love that Dark is doing is he's not going just Ultras. Now, mass Ultras can maybe win you a game. Good Fungals, good Concave again, totally make Ultras just look like, oh my god, how do I beat this? But it's so hard to get. So he gets a couple of mutas, maybe to kind of fake herO out, but also to beat the Warp Prism defense. That kind of worked out that last game, too. And he includes a greater spire, so he has something else that can besiege, like, SimCity'd up buildings, you know? He can actually break down the SimCity, and then the Ultras can go in.
Yeah, this could work out really, really well. I also love the fact that these Swarm hosts, they can put pressure on that 4th, but if you actually manage to get just a little bit further up north into the west, or to the left, he may even be able to get into a position where he can either choose to put pressure on the 3rd. Oh, nice feedback and fungal. Oh my god. Actually, forget everything I was saying. We're going to be seeing the big engagement over here, forced out with the fungals.
Yeah, those Void Rays, their counter is the Queens. Usually they're only brought for transfuses, but they're also the only, like, consistent DPS. The fungals have all gone and been drained. Oh, Stormhost are back being lazy again. Mutas! Kill that Robotics Bay! I can't believe the Robotics Bay hasn't been made yet.
Oh my god, 3 Stalkers though, gonna be able to be warped in and easily gonna deal with those mules.
Oh, what?
Still 0-0, might I add. Still 0-0.
Imba Stalker's taking on 0-0 Mutas, I don't believe it.
Oh man, Stalkers with +3-3, I mean, or +3-2.
Yeah. Well, this 4th, a little awkward, you know, not much army was given away from Dark, but it still could be the case. A lot of feedbacks went down on the Queens. I like that choice. Again, the Infestors weren't quite there. Here they are now, but now the Queens are so much, they're much worse at being that DPS.
Yeah, the Void Rays should be able to clean up anything besides the Infested Terrans, but I mean, the Infested Terrans should be able to be dealt with the Reinforcing Warpin. This is actually going to be a nice little... I mean, he loses the 4th expansion, which again just goes to show how freaking wide open that base is, because there were like 8 or 9 cannons there, but Dark just said, well, I'm going to attack from a different angle, and suddenly your cannons don't actually matter. Yeah. herO still did manage to snipe off a hatchery on the top right.
Yeah, that was nice. That was nice. I don't think he knows about the 5th, so the drones can transfer over there eventually, but... Yeah, that was, you know, he maybe... I kind of wish that Dark did not give all his army, you know, away for that 4th, because he killed it so fast I thought he was going to escape. Oh. But he does remax instantly, and that was a really nice fungal. And here they come Corruptors. I mean, they're fighting... Yeah, charged Void Rays. They back off for a second, but they just surround with Locusts, Infested Terrans, a couple Ultras, and yet the army is still doing surprisingly well. Finally, it goes down for herO.
Yeah, Void Rays is going to be like the only remaining remnant of this army, but even those actually may be cleaned up by these Corruptors. But the expensive units that herO has to remake, those Immortals, the Void Rays, the like everything is going to be so difficult for herO to actually remake, especially with no 4th actually mining.
Yeah, that's a... I talked about Dark giving away his units for a base, well, herO just gave away his units for actually nothing. A couple Ultras, I think, went down. For creep spread. Yeah, and creep spread.
Off creep spread, right?
And it's obvious that he wasn't planning on that being like an all-in or anything. No, he had a mothership a plain mothership ready to go to protect whatever units he has, but now it's a very small group of units. Very powerful, yes, but very small. He's so tiny. Look at that little army.
We'll have to see if this mothership can save him. There's no overseers with the army, so maybe if he can capitalize on this, he'll be able to do something over here. Well, he's at least going to be able to force these swarm hosts back for a little bit.
Yeah. You'll see he's getting double War Prism, which isn't bad, because 4 Colossus is actually a pretty perfect number, but he doesn't really have enough money to, you know, warp in 7, 8 Zealots at 2 different locations. And if he does that, then of course our main army, which is still kind of small, is not that great.
Yeah, I've also got to say, this is one of those really, really awkward times for a Protoss player where you actually start getting really scared, because you have to decide, what am I going to make my composition? Because Dark has set himself up where he has a Greater Spire, he has an Ultralisk Cavern, he has Pathogen Glands research for Infestors. He basically can just go into anything he really wants to, except for maybe, you know, Mutalisks and Corruptors aren't going to have a lot of air upgrades, but herO just has to be prepared for it. He can't afford to lose a big army because Dark made the army composition that countered him.
And these double War Prisms, they didn't warp in a lot, but at least one of them was effective. This one will definitely weaken. Actually, no, it'll get the hatchery. It will. There you go. One hatchery down, and this other one might die too. This army, you know, it's been just hovering around the middle, but it has been growing with each step. It is now almost maxed out.
Well, big fungal growth's going down on top of this
Huge.
entire army, though, and also revealing a lot of the units. There's not a lot of supporting units, though. The Broodlord's also going to be fairly exposed as the Blinkstalker is actually blinking on top of them. It doesn't look like there's quite enough over here for Dark.
The Locust do pop, and the Swarm Host, or the Broodlord's, just a few more transfuses. Maybe he'll hold on. He needs an Overseer, though, and no more Fungals are here. What are they actually fighting?
Oh
There's
my
no
god,
Overseer! Is that gonna lose him the game? Like, I don't know if he would have lost anyways, but that just... herO! He looked so uncomfortable in that first game. To bring it back